All right, first grade, we are going to review some of our phonograms now. So I'll say the sound. I'll help you find the correct starting spot and do the spacing correctly because we're going to do some that are single letter phonograms. And remember those, we always start close to our last letter. And we're also going to be doing some multi-letter phonograms where we leave a clock space. All right, so this should be a short session. Let's see. All right, first I want you to write P. Class, what are you going to write? Good. P. Now, where's the starting spot for P? Good, it's at the dotted line. So write your P and say the sounds while you, or say the sound while you write them, while you write it. All right, this is our P. Remember, we start close to the last letter of the margin, and that makes us have our P go the right way. All right, so make sure yours is going the same direction as mine. All right, next is D. Class, where do we start D? Good. Over a space just below the dotted line, touch 2 on the clock. All right, so write it and say the sound as you write it. All right, so you told me where to start, so I know I'm going to have to make it the right way because it is a clock stroke letter. All right, so make sure your D looks like mine. All right, next I want us to write the of her. What are we going to write? Excellent, the of her. Now, do I need to leave a clock space between my D and my the of her? You're right, I do. So leave a clock space and write your the of her and say the sound while you write it. All right, nice job, class. So again, if you're having trouble with the clock space or you want to make sure you're making it about the right space, we don't want to use our finger. That kind of slows us down. So just do a little clock stroke in there for right now. All right, and our the of her is this one, the of her. All right, so if you had something else, then go ahead and cross that out and write in the of her. All right, the next phonogram we're going to write is a new one we learned today. E always says E. What are you going to write? Great, E always says E. So do you need to leave a clock space? Excellent, you do. All right, so leave a clock space, write it in if that helps you. And then write your E always says E. All right, put your finger down when you're finished, or put your pencil down when you're finished. All right, this is our E, always says E. This one's nice because the name's really in the way that we say it. And make sure you underline to show those letters go together to make that sound. All right, next let's write K. All right, the one that just says K. All right, so that's just one letter, but we'll still need to leave a clock space because we always leave a clock space before and after. All right, our two or more letter phonograms. So write a clock space and then write in your K. Right, and if I'm going too fast and you're at home, just pause the video. Right, because it's hard for me to know if you're finished because I'm not with you. All right, so this is my K. So this part we always do great on. What I want us to focus on is going to the dotted line to start the second part, right at the dotted line. Not above it, not below it, not way up here, but this is our K. So make yours look like mine if it doesn't. All right, the next one we're going to write is Z. Class, what are you going to write? Very good. Z. All right. So that one starts close to your last letter, so you write it the correct way. Right, so write it and say it while you write it. All right, class, this is our Z. And remember, always start it close to the last letter, and then you can't write it backwards even if you tried. All right. See, let's do just a couple more. The next one is Kwa. All right, and I know the one we learned today sounds a little bit like Kwa. So that's why I'll always put my hand up to help you know it's Kwa. All right, so it's not that one, it's Kwa. What are you going to write? Very good. And would we need to leave a clock space? We need 2 letters to say Kwa. So you're right, we need to leave a clock space. Great job, class. Write your Kwa. And say the sound while you write it. All right, so Kwa is a clock stroke phonogram. So our first letter starts over, space just below the dotted line, touch 2 on the clock. Kwa. All right, and of course we underline to show that those letters work together to make that sound. Let's write one more phonogram. The last one we're going to write is the of bird. What are you going to write? Good, the of bird. And do we need to leave a clock space? You're right, we do. Great work. So write in the clock space if you need to. If you don't, that's fine, but we don't want to use our fingers, all right? And write in the of bird and say it while you write it. Man, that's not the most beautiful clock stroke I've ever done. All right, this is our the of bird. And then, of course, we underline to show that those letters go together to make that sound. All right, great job, first grade. And we'll have some actual spelling words next.